I'd like to call to order the Trotwood-Madison City School District Board of Education work session to order February 10th, 2022 at the Board of Education offices in Trotwood, Ohio. Ms. Allen, will you call the roll?
Yes, Mrs. Jeter Freeman.
Here.
Mrs. Cherry.
Here.
Ms. Moore.
Here. The meeting has been called to order. Will you please join us in a pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have our mission statement reader this evening? Says the mission statement is read by Norma Jean Hartley from Westbrook Village.
Yeah, she was available when our meeting was initially scheduled.
Oh, and then we just, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's
I think
right.
it's a scheduling mix-up.
Okay, it's a scheduling thing. Okay, no worries, no worries.
We'll have her back.
Wonderful, and I'll tell you what, Ms. Jeter Freeman, would you like to do the honors? Mission statement.
Here,
The mission of the Trotwood-Madison City Schools is to graduate all students prepared to excel in a global society with a commitment to lifelong learning by guaranteeing challenging curriculum facilitated by an innovative and dedicated staff, community participation, and state-of-the-art resources in a stimulating environment.
Thank you. I now need a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
I'll move.
Second.
It's been properly moved, and I have a second. Are there any changes, additions, questions, or concerns? Being none, Ms. Allen, will you please call the roll?
Mrs. Jeter Freeman.
Yes.
Mrs. Cherry.
Yes.
And Ms. Moore.
Yes, the agenda has been adopted. First up, we have a presentation this evening, Ram Nation Virtual Academy presentation by Jeff Nelson of Future Ed Solutions.
It's now live. Oops. Thanks very much. So first of all, I really appreciate the time here today, and thanks to the board and Dr. Cosby for actually giving us the go-ahead. Last time we were here, I think this entire program was just merely an abstraction, and now in a semester, we've been able to do a lot of work and turn it into to an actual, really good, what we think is successful program. So I really, really want to thank the administration here in the office. When we came in, we had a lot to do in a short bit of time. I know we started in the middle of July, and we've been able to put together this virtual academy to serve Trotwood kids, and we've had so much cooperation here in the central office. We've spent a lot of hours here helping set this up, and it's just been fantastic. And I always hate to mention folks by name because you're always afraid you're going to leave somebody out, but Mr. Warner, Nathan Warner, helped a lot, kind of spearhead initially, and Tracy Mallory spent countless hours with us going through things. Jen Mason and Lindy Connor, a whole lot of things that you wouldn't think, as we had kids come in that were taking elective classes here at Trotwood, and we had to try to figure them out, how to match them up in the online world. So if a student was taking CrossFit or golf or something like that at Trotwood, we had to figure out how that translated. So we had to spend a good bit of time doing that. And Paula Latham, she was the initial employee that's just put a lot of time in, and as we've started to kind of figure this out throughout the semester, we've learned a lot this semester. We've served almost 200 students so far that have come in and out. And in starting a new program like this, what we did is we put our best person over here, and he's over here a lot, Ed Kitchen. He's in the back there, but so he's almost become like an employee here. He spends so much time. So In starting a new program, the thing that we really needed to do is figure out, number one, how to teach kids best practices of learning online, and then also try to help the parents, how can you support your kids at home in learning online. And what we've found in a lot of our experiences is just it's so important to have systems put in place to make sure that the kids are being engaged and that this is the appropriate setting for them. So we put a number of systems in place. And when I say we, I don't mean just Future Ed. I mean, we look at we as the entire team here. So we have put a lot of systems in place, created a tier system to monitor kids, making sure kids are engaged and engaging in the online world, because ultimately it is, and I think I said this the last time I was here, it's not for everybody. So we want to make sure we identify students who may not be doing as well, put support systems in place, and then if they're still not doing well, we work with the administrators here and in the buildings and trying to get those students back into the brick and mortar buildings to make sure that that's where they're going to be the most successful. So that's really what we spent the first semester doing, is just kind of putting systems in place. I'll give you some examples that we've done, but we have like a tier system that shows us levels of engagement and then requirements of students who fall in those levels to maybe help, again, put support systems in place for them. Paula has just done an amazing job. She primarily works with our 6 through 12 kids. So she has, she has a morning assembly where kids have to come in, and then she gives them encouraging things to get them started and engaged. And she has done a really neat job of being creative. She's had guest speakers come in to talk to the kids about career opportunities via Zoom. And really just, she spends a lot of time on the phone one-on-one with them. We have some systems put in place for tutoring for the students online. In our K-5 program, we have our K-5, our person who kind of oversees the K-5 program has Zoom meetings with the students, some geared for parents, what we call them learning coaches, so that the parents can help them get engaged. Little different system with the K-5 because they do have workbooks, and it is a little bit more of a traditional school day where the students are in live classrooms during the day. But the one thing in any of these programs is we want to make sure that the kids feel connected to Trotwood, that they're part of this district. And so she has weekly Wednesday fun days where the kids will get online and play games with each other, but we want to make sure that they're socially connected to each other as long as the parents have agreed to that. So she's also developing right now a parent advisory group in her K-5. So I kind of said initially we've learned a lot in the first semester. I think we've learned a lot of things that we will do differently moving forward, things that we will enhance on moving forward. And I want to leave some time for some questions, but we're really excited because what we've seen is the kids who are engaged daily, the ones who we've been able to put these things in place, 73% of the kids have been successful that have been engaged. And that, in the online world, that is the biggest hurdle initially, is getting those kids engaged and getting those kids to form good habits. So for the first semester, I'm really happy with that. Not satisfied with it, but very happy with the first semester because now I know that's something to build on. And with our partners that we've had in the past, we always see that number go up. Semesters after, the first one's always the most challenging. So we like that. Real quick, I want to just point out a couple district uses as we came in with goals for this. And again, our whole group. One, obviously, is coming out of the pandemic or going through the pandemic. We knew parents would want this option, so we wanted to provide that. We also wanted to try to recapture Trotwood students who had left the district and gone to online charter schools around the state. So last year, the percentage of kids who left Trotwood and went to online charter schools rose 28%. And this year, as of right now, it's down 7%. So we're really excited about that because getting started so late that we did, I feel like going into next year, we can have a much more targeted campaign. So I think that word of mouth enough has let us, allowed us to bring that down 7%, but I think that that's something that we can bring down even more as we have a targeted campaign in the late spring towards that. So that's been really positive. Another is we've seen 7 students come in from open enrollment, from other districts, come in and open enroll in Ram Nation. And then we've also been able to look at options in lieu of expulsion to be able to use this program. So knowing that that would have been lost money. So when you look at all 3 of those things, we estimate it's probably a little over $100,000 we've been able to, as a group, save or bring back into the district. So something that we're excited to expand on in that as well. So wanted to leave a little bit of time for questions if anybody had any questions.
On the expulsions, do you have the numbers for those? You said we had students that we were able to recapture that were,
Yeah, I can get specific numbers. I mean, I think they knew, I think the administrators here have worked with some of the district principals just to say, hey, this is an option if it's that type of thing. But to get this, I can certainly get the specific numbers and send it along. I'd be happy to do that.
yeah. In fact, I would like your numbers I was expecting a presentation with numbers. So for the numbers, and I do appreciate you
Sure.
providing those, and I have jotted them down, but if you do have that,
Yeah.
like what is our enrollment at the beginning, and then what our enrollment is now, and then those details of the 7 that are open enrollment.
Sure.
And then the ones that we saved from, if we can capture that into a presentation.
Yeah, I can definitely do that for you. I know that right now we're still looking at about 76 students who are in online charter schools that we want to target and go after for in the future. But I can get some more specific numbers for you, yes.
Yeah, I like to,
Yeah,
thank you.
no, of course.
Oh,
I
the
have
other
a question.
thing-
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Ms. Jerry? No, she goes.
No, you can go ahead.
Oh, I don't have a question, but I like the fact that you have presented, passed that information to us about the 73%, the support system, the tutoring program, youth being connected, and the parent advisory. And I think that is a part of why it is as successful as it is. And I'm looking forward in the future for it to be even more successful. But that's a great start because you have a system in place.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I know that when I was here last summer, I kind of talked about every district's different and how we work with every district. It's a little bit different. This has just been, I mean, it's been a pleasure, it really has, as we've kind of figured out what's best and works best for the district. And like I said, that first semester, it's been how do we stay connected with building administrators and guidance counselors and, special ed department. And so we've had hours of meetings in here just making sure everybody understands what it's for and what it's not for. I mean, we certainly know that online learning is not for everybody, and we don't want it to be that. But so I appreciate that. And that's where I feel like, and I know I talked before about where we're different, is we really don't look at ourselves as a vendor. We kind of look at ourselves as a partner. It's how we've always set our stuff up, as we hope we can come in. And there have been a number of things I know in talking to some administrators that have said, hey, what do you think about this and this? And we've seen a lot in other districts and saying, yeah, you could do this. It may not be something that you use us for, but we hope that we can help be a solution for you.
Yeah, I also really like the parent advisory group, because that then makes the parents, even though, their kids would not physically here, make them feel engaged. The 73%, is that based on their testing or?
Yeah, so
73%?
So we have the different levels of what we consider engagement. Our students regularly engaging in the process, and that's always, like I said, the challenge in the online world. And so when we've created this tier system, your tier 1 means you're really not engaged, and we have to figure out why that is. And then, so what we look at, if students are regularly engaged, 60% of the time and more, are they being successful in the program? Because if they are, and they're not being successful, then that's not the right learning environment for them. It's always a challenge in the online world to figure out whether it's an ability problem or an effort problem, or do we just not have the right learning setting? And so one thing that I'm really appreciative is everybody here has been in agreement that we don't want to wait till the end of the year and find out a student
Absolutely.
didn't log on. We want to know that right away, and that's why we put these, and we also don't want to assume that if a student maybe hasn't done anything in the first 2 weeks, then it's not for them. So we want to find out the reason why, and can it be that way? And then we bring the families in and say, okay, this isn't the best setting, they're not learning, we're not seeing progress, and here are all the things that we've done, and we think that they need to be back into the building. But we've also had, for every student that comes in, we had an orientation here for the student and parents, and explain to the parents, here are all the things that is expected of you as a parent. It's not just putting them in here, good luck. We expect this, and we've been pretty pleased with how the parents have reacted. They've done a good job.
73% is pretty good, but I didn't know if we were basing that on academic score or just, so it's really just engagement.
Correct. Are they trying? Are they getting in
Are they
and
logging in?
working the program?
And
Yeah.
completed work.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead, Superintendent.
No, it was a comment. I mean, I remember when you did come in, and the reason why we selected you over the others was because of that connection with Trotwood. You assured us that these students would still understand that they were Trotwood students. And we have been through, quite a bit with trying to maintain our staffing and all, but you've always supported us and come through. And so I just wanted to say we appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Mr. Nelson, you mentioned that there were some things that you found that needed to be enhanced as you've gone along.
Mhm.
What are those things?
Well, I look at systems that we've had in place, and as we, for example, the engagement system. When I look at, hey, we've done this and this and this. This kind of works. How can we be better at that? How can we do that better? Is it assigning someone to? I know that recently Trotwood has I think a new truant officer and we're able to use the
Resource
program.
officer.
Yeah, resource officer. I'm sorry, and we're able to use that as a program. So we're trying to figure out what is the best way to do that with this program. All right, the program. And so, is it best to to use them to go to the home and knock on the door and find out what's going on? And so there are just a number of things I think we've learned, both as an entire group, that were we to start rewind and go all the way back to July, we would probably do some things differently. We would set some things up a little differently. What's the best way, like with Mrs. Latham has this morning assembly where kids all attend, and should we do that a couple times a day? Like, should we just do it in the morning? Should we do it a couple of times for kids who maybe they don't pop up at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock? Should we use the evening time to try to contact kids and parents? Is that a better time? So, I mean, we kind of look at data and look at what's being successful, and we just try to get better at that. And so,
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Tweaking the system.
oh yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you. We appreciate it.
of course.
Yeah, I'd like to follow up on your question.
Okay,
So,
sure.
I come down here almost twice a month and work with Paula, and so that's been a revolving issue every month, is we look at that system and say, how can we improve it? First month, this is what kind of works, so what's the next process? Well, then we met with them daily, and for the first 9 weeks, and said, well, that's probably not working, so what's the next 9 weeks? We said, well, let's just do it Monday and Thursday. That seemed to work. The kids worked it. They liked that better. So it's almost every 2 weeks, I'm with Paula going, okay, here's our data, right? Here's what it looks like. How can we engage these kids? How can we make it better? Because we can't wait. As a classroom teacher, that's not us. That's not what we do. So to your point is, what are things that we want to improve on? We're trying to do that almost bi-weekly and not let it fall down.
I really like that you're being proactive. You know, there are a lot of times we see things maybe not working and we wait to the end of the semester or we wait to the end of the year. You guys seem to be doing things more, less now, like making those adjustments as you go on to ensure that kids are successful. So I think that's great.
Thanks.
Well, we were all teachers, so.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you understand, right?
Teachers.
Yeah, I mean, I just got out of the classroom. I was a 30-year teacher, taught math for 30 years, was a little bit online, in and out of the technology world. So I've had some things I think that I could share down here that's worked, and it's a great platform. Paula does an excellent job of that. I mean, this community does an excellent job of letting us try these things, because I think you have to. We're not a one-stop shop where you just say, here it is, let's make it work. It doesn't work that way. And to speak of the numbers, just to kind of answer that, I'm a numbers guy. So when I started looking at these numbers, some things really started to match up. And I mean, it kind of makes sense. The more time you spend online, the more time you spend in the class, the better you're going to do, right?
Yeah.
So those numbers kind of worked out that way. And what is that number? Is it 60%? Well, when I started looking at it, if a kid did 60% or more of the class, spent time online, their average was a 70. But if they spent 70% of the time, it jumped up to like a 78%. And that's their grade. So, and we need to tell the kids that, because they don't see that. I'm not in front of them, you know, telling them that. So some of those numbers really do work in their favor when we can show a kid that. And then it will snowball right into this, because all the kids want to be successful. You know, how do we make them successful? How do we show them that?
What are the things, so when they have to take the standardized test, how are they required to come into the building?
Yeah, they have to. Like I've always said, the state kind of frowns upon taking state tests at home.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're going to just come in and work with people here in terms of when they come in. Yep.
Thank you. We
welcome.
appreciate the
Thank you.
presentation,
Thank
and
you
we look
so much.
forward to the information, all right? Thank you. Let's give them a hand.
Thank you, Ed.
That'll be great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I just really needed that.
Next up, we have the treasurer's report. Ms. Allen?
Yes. Okay, I have just information this evening. Approval of minutes for January 6, 2022, the organizational meeting, January 6, 2022, work session, January 20th, 2022. And I think it should also read, we had a regular meeting on January 6th as well. Well, I said January 6th, so,
Yeah, we did.
yes. But it says for approval of minutes of January 6, 2022.
Okay.
So
Okay,
it
those
was
are two
January
separate
6th,
meetings
and there
though,
was an
right?
organizational meeting, January 6th, and then the regular meeting, January 6th, and then January 20th was
So we need to
was a-
add that work session, right?
the work,
Or, not the work session.
actually, January 20th should have been
Yeah,
the business meeting.
Okay,
Okay, so we'll change that.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Next up, superintendent's report. Dr. Cosby?
All right, thank you very much. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
So we'll start off with approval of donations to Madison Park and Westbrook Village. Madison Park will receive a check in the amount of $446.05 from Life Touch Fall Pictures to be used for student incentive items. Mr. Nadir at Westbrook Village will receive a check from Life Touch National School Studios in the amount of $436.34 for commission from the school pictures. They'll both be seeking approval next week.
Okay.
Now we have approval of the 22-23 school year OHSAA resolution card. So what this is each year you have to adopt a resolution authorizing their schools that are members for this school year to continue for next school year. For us, that is the high school and the middle school, and there will be a resolution that we can read next week, and, in 2 weeks when we have our next meeting, and then we will agree to participate, if you all agree to participate in OSHAA. The next thing on my list is approval of the 22-23 school calendar. So you should have a copy of that. As you can see, the main things on the school calendar is that we will start school with our teachers on the 8th, and our students will return to school on the 15th. During that time, we'll have PD for teachers, as well as time for them to work in their classrooms, and we'll also have our convocation on the 12th. Then we go down, we have, of course, Thanksgiving break, then our holiday break. We also, in October, you'll notice that there are 2 days. One of them is a teacher work day and the other is a teacher PD day. The green days are holidays that we have. In March, we also have a teacher PD day and a teacher work day. And in April, we will have our holiday for spring break. And then the last day for students is the 25th, the last day for teachers is the 26th of May. Any questions on that? Anybody?
How many, I know we switched to hours,
Mhm.
right? So how many hours do we have instructional time?
Okay, for the
year?
elementary buildings, it's 957 total hours.
Okay,
And for the high school and middle school, it's 1,044 instructional hours. And basically, of course, the difference is the amount of time they stay in school.
and then our calamity days, since we have virtual capabilities, do we actually use calamity days still? It would only be on the days where, like when we had the bad weather, but we're not online. That would be a calamity day, right?
Right, a calamity day would be, basically, for the first 5 days, we have that much left
Right.
over, right, that we could just not do anything
Right.
on 5 days. So I think something like, water main breaks and it messes up,
Oh, okay.
several buildings and we can't come in. Something along those lines. Some districts, as you know, on this last time when we had a break, they took calamity days, straight up snow day, no work. We chose to, have our students online because we do have that capability and we wanted to do that. But we have that option, to
Okay.
answer that question, yes.
So we've not used any calamity days?
We have not at this point, no. I know, I'll say it because the calendar is pulled out. Of course, there's a lot of question about Monday, but we're going to be in school on Monday. And you may be thinking, what about Monday?
Yeah.
Yeah, what about Monday? But a lot of people, Cincinnati, Dayton Public, a lot of school districts, even amongst us, there are some who are not going to be in session.
Oh, you mean for the football game? Is
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
Not
we
Valentine's Day, 'cause it is
Yeah,
Valentine's Day,
you know
too.
what, that was a given for this board. We knew that we were going to be in school on Monday, okay? But thank you for clarification of that.
Uh-huh.
All right? Next.
Okay. Next, we have approval of the school course guide and the descriptions of our classes. I'm not sure if all of you are aware, but this is a different look to our book. We think it's easier to read through, easier for parents to understand. We've highlighted the different sections. What I would like to point out are some things that are different. If you go to page 22, again, like I said, the whole way is set up is, I think, easier to read, but it is simplified in that way that if you're looking for things, I think you can find it easier. But we have our career tech options here, and as you can see, we have agribusiness and production systems. If you go over to page 23, we have business and administrative services. We have education and training, and that's basically us working on our Grow Our Own program. And then we do have some new electives as well. College and career readiness, that's something that we do, want to do. And so this is just a special course. It's not that we haven't been doing those things through our guidance department. Also, I wanted to point out in the social studies area, we do have, and that's on page 47, Ferguson Voices, Disrupting the Frame. We will be offering that this year. Now, and as you know, when you develop this book, these are all the things that we are offering, but what we'll actually have is based on what the students select. So the students will come through, they know they need 4 maths, or, and they'll go through, and so that's how you determine what will actually be offered.
The one I looked at, classroom management, what was the thought on that one?
What page is it? Do you, is it,
It's
is
under
it
the career
for
readiness.
education and?
Yeah, it falls
Yeah.
under college and career readiness.
Under college.
I-
I see it's one of the courses under education and training.
Right.
And the idea is, if you want to be a teacher, classroom management is something that is very important. It's like education, teacher education 101. How do you manage your classroom? So really, this program, we're really excited about it because we are trying to encourage our students. And one of the things that I'll share in a little bit is how we're hoping to get some of our students into classes with our younger students so that they can get the opportunity to do some teaching or some mentoring and tutoring with the kids.
One thing that I would like to see, I know we've done this in the past, when we change the courses, or when we add, we highlight these things, and we show what we had and what we replaced, because I know when I'm looking at this, I'm seeing what we're offering, but what did we have before? And this is the new stuff. Now we don't have to go back through, because I'm not sure about some of these things, if they were new or not, if they were existing. So is there any way that you can give us what we had and then
Yeah, I
highlight?
can get you last year's book.
Yeah, and
Yes,
then
and I'll highlight what's new.
Thank you.
No
Can you
problem.
also ask can you add what is effective and what is not?
Okay, in the courses, you mean? Okay, I can try to work on that one. Hopefully, if it wasn't effective, it's probably something that we took out. Or if enough students didn't sign up for it on enough years, it's
Okay.
probably not in here. But I will compare it and let you know.
Thank you.
No problem.
The other concern I have
Mhm,
is with the College Credit Plus.
mhm.
And I had this concern years ago when my youngest was coming through, and the parents have to go to that informational meeting about College Credit Plus and where your child can go.
Mhm,
We only identify St. Clair.
mhm.
My daughter went to UD and got 15 credit hours.
Right.
And we're limiting students, and I met with my mentee, who's a senior this year,
Right.
and although she's gotten 18 hours from St. Clair, she didn't know that she could have gone to Wright State, to UD, or somewhere else.
Mhm.
We've got to, so
Right.
why are we limiting this to St. Clair?
Yeah, I can get that updated. It's not only limited to Sinclair. Any college in our area that a student can get into, they can get their coursework done there
Yes.
through College Credit Plus.
So we need to make sure that we're clear in the communication on this part.
Okay.
It requires a higher GPA,
Mhm.
but both students have that to be
Right.
able to go. And she certainly has, the mentee I have now that's at Trotwood. So,
I will make sure that our guidance counselors are, making sure that they're aware of that.
they're
what the
aware of it.
What the
but that
qualifications are.
When our students are coming in, that they're also emphasizing
Mhm.
that, they're
Oh.
counseling in that regard.
Mrs. Reed, Superintendent.
Yes.
I'm not for sure, Ms. Jeter Freeman, where the information came for your mentee, but my child was offered College Credit Plus, and it was not just at St. Clair. It was UD, it was Central State, and I believe it was Wright State as well.
Well, that's good.
So I'm not for sure if the counselor just gave the information to me, or was that something abroad for everyone? But it
Right.
should be for
Yes.
everyone, but I did want to say it has been offered, and I mean,
It
the
is
information.
being,
Yes,
the
it has
students
been.
are being told you can go to, so thank
Yes,
you for
I went to a
sharing
couple
that.
of informational meetings about it, and it was not just Sinclair. So,
Well, that's good. So we'll update it in here
Mhm.
so that someone reading
Right.
it will know that it's either one of those.
I'll make sure that happens. Thank you. Okay,
There was one other, I tried to put the numbers to the pages. but they
Okay.
didn't. But it was talking just to the, getting the students ready for college. It didn't discuss, it's not just college, it's military, it's career readiness. And I forget which section that's in, I can send it to you.
okay, my guess is it is in the electives. The first one, college and career readiness, on page 26, the first thing there. Students enroll in the college and career readiness course their 11th grade year. In order to prepare for their post-secondary goals, they'll learn about college entrance requirements, military enlistment requirements, and apprenticeship acceptance requirements. It talks about them being exposed to representatives and recruiters for various post-secondary programs
Okay.
throughout the state. Is that what, the one you were talking about?
It wasn't, that one explains it. I didn't get through all 50 pages.
Okay, yeah, it is
It was
quite
in
quite a document
earlier.
here.
It is. but
Yeah, it is.
I do like the layout much better. The only other comment, suggestion, would be for the PSA, for all those testing, the PSAT, ACT,
Uh-huh,
to have a little graph in there to show the dates. We talk about the dates
right.
in there.
In
which is
here, but it
good.
doesn't have the actual.
Yeah, I'm a visual person, and there might be two other people like me that, if we have those dates in there, PSAT is in October.
Right, I was gonna say, it had to be
Yeah.
generalized, because,
Right.
you know, we
There is
talked
not
about that, we
exact
don't
date.
have the exact dates
Right.
just yet, but I will definitely mention that to them as well.
And the scores, and I think it also talked about that.
Okay.
Now, do we require our eighth graders to take PSAT?
I know we have before,
We do.
yes. I'm only speaking off of experience with my child. so-
Oh, no.
yeah, I
that's
know, I
fine.
was gonna say, I know
But
that we
yes,
have
she did.
before required it, but. And I can definitely look into that, you know, it's more of a push now for ACT.
Right.
And that's why that's why I'm saying I will confirm that with their head guidance counselor.
And do we have a class? Years ago, we had a class for, like, tutoring for the ACT, SAT.
We are offering that. I don't know if it's a class or if now it is more of a, so we have the information here. I do know that we work with a company that does that prep. So I don't know if the prep is like done on weekends. I can get the
Okay.
details of that for you.
Because that will be one of the factors into the new, and I'm sure you know
Mhm.
that, the report card. So
Mhm.
as we're looking at our course curriculum for next year, state legislators at this time have sent out the report card for comments, and each measure, the gap closing, so now it includes graduation. And now the cut scores are different. So it's important that we understand and we know what those impacts are.
Right.
And that we're providing whatever those supports are needed for those tests if it's going to impact our school. Thank you.
Okay,
Next.
okay, next.
Dr. Costa. Yes, please.
All righty, the next thing on my list is approval for out-of-state travel for JROTC. They're asking to go to Washington DC, and it's from April 8th to April 10th. Okay. Next, we have approval of the personnel agenda. We have A1, recommendation for the approval of the following certified adjustments and training credit. And A2 is a recommendation for the approval of the following certified letters unit training for the 21-22 school year. And that's all I have for my report.
Next, I'm sorry, Ms. Allen?
B1. Did I miss it? I'm sorry, I did miss it, on the back.
Oh, the other.
I'm so sorry,
personnel
yes.
Items, these?
Yeah,
Yeah, I saw those.
personnel.
Yeah,
Thank you, Janice.
yeah.
B1 is recommendation for the approval of the following classified new hires. B2 is a recommendation for the approval of the following classified resignation. B3, recommendation for the approval of the following classified letters unit training. B4 is a recommendation for the approval of the following classified supplementals. That does finish that off. Okay. Got a lot of papers in front of me today.
Okay, so we're going to move on to the discussion and follow-up items. Thank you. Central State Opportunities, memorandum of understanding with Central State.
Okay?
And I know you have information for us as well, right?
Right. I've handed you a handout that sort of combines A and B, but I did want to add to A that's not on this sheet. We are currently at 18 partnerships, and one of them is with Central State University. As you can see by looking at this list, that we're doing the agribusiness and production systems. They're part of our advisory board. They are College Credit Plus partners. They're working with us with the Educator Rising Advisory Board and post-secondary program degree partners, as well as using them for teacher recruitment. But another thing that we also have going on with Central State is the end of October, we actually met, and the mayor was there, I was there, and the president of Central State, and it was a wonderful meeting. We actually had a lot of great conversation, and one of the things that we are working on and is working with Kalila Forte. She's the president of the Alumni Association, and we had talked to them about maybe giving us some support in areas such as band and, other areas of that way. So she's going to work with us. Mr. Warner has a meeting set up with her to further that discussion. So that's A. On B, business partner collaborations, and, this list constantly is growing, and we really, are having to think through what we're offering our students and what we're doing as far as working with everyone. But so far, these are some wonderful partnerships. We have Central State, Sinclair, Procter & Gamble, IUE CWA Manufacturing Skills Standards Council. That's Mr. Kennebrew, who you all will remember came and spoke. National Conference for Community and Justice of Greater Dayton. The Trotwood CIC, which we've talked quite a bit about that. Educational Opportunity Center, they're helping us with FAFSA completion. The Miami Valley Apprenticeship Coordinators Group. Dayton Fire Department, recruitment of students of color into their program. We have DVS, Diversity and Education Solutions, doing college fairs. And as you can see, people have different levels of partnering with us, and some are doing more things that may be listed here as we move into the future. There are things that we're talking about doing that have not come to fruition yet, but Dayton Metro Library is also a place. SOCHI, to get those paid internships going. University of Dayton, they're doing student voter registration on campus in March. Then Tradeworthy Jobs, National Association of Black School Educators, My College Options, post-secondary interest surveys given to our students, try to find out where their interest lies. The Montgomery County Clerk of Courts Help Center, Job Corps, just met with them last week. It's very interesting. A lot of you are probably familiar with Job Corps, but it helps eligible young people ages 16 through 24. So we can actually contact some of our students who did not graduate and help them get their high school education. It's a very interesting program. And then Preschool Promise, they're a nonprofit funded through Montgomery County, and it's to help our students who reside in Trotwood get ready for kindergarten. They're the group that is, we're trying to find a teacher so we can open up another classroom. I know we've mentioned that before. It would be through Preschool Promise, and they're also doing some work to try to get us more teachers of color as well. So these are some of the ones that we have going right now, and again, like I said, they're continually sort of getting more and more as they get more opportunity and we ask for more things.
I like this. Thank you for this list. The only thing that I would ask, because this is wonderful, this is fabulous, and I know it'll keep growing, but can you tell us what we're doing in those things? Like, for instance, Mr. Kennebrew, how many students have integrated into his program? Because it's great to have all these partnerships, but what are we doing with them? You know, like, are they really following through on working with our students with the paid internships? And I mean, even if he gets back to you and says, you know, I've got 3 students, well, that's 3 we didn't have. Do you know what I mean? We need to know what progress is actually happening. Central State, the same thing. You know, how many students are involved, or you know, even with the college, what is this, the FAFSA completion, small group, one-on-one, EOC, how many students have they helped?
Well, when we, you know, have another retreat or
Yeah.
something, when we bring this topic up again, I can give you more. To be perfectly honest with you, we do have a lot of great things going on.
I know.
And I know that we're trying to, you know, contain, you know, these meetings to a certain amount of time. And of course,
Yeah.
gathering this information, you know, takes a certain amount of time. And I will get that together for you. And once we get that ready, I'll
You know
get
what
it
we
to
can
you.
do, and we had a discussion about this, we're gonna start putting good news on the agenda. You don't have to do these all at once. You know, as a matter of fact, those would be good rollouts, just to kind of share, because there's a lot of these. This is a lot of research, actually, because you've got a lot of points under each one. But if you
Yes.
just maybe focus on all the Central State initiatives or something like that, maybe that would be a report out, just one, just, you know, that one.
Gotcha.
And then as we go, we can go from there.
Okay.
Because, like I said, I know Northmont just signed on with the chamber in Northmont for a partnership with their school district. And what they're doing is the chamber is helping the students with internships and residencies.
How many do they have yet? Do we know? Did it
Northmont?
just get started, or?
They just started. I
Okay.
mean, you know, and I
We're just
thought, I mean, they just signed on.
We're just starting.
Yeah, they just signed on with the chamber
Okay, that's really.
in that partnership. So, you know,
Okay.
but again, I can see this list being 5, 6, 8 pages, maybe even long.
Well, that's
you
what
know,
I'm
more.
saying, the
And
list is
yeah,
growing
And this is the Dayton Fire
substantially.
Department. Maybe we can talk to the Trotwood Fire Department
Mm-hmm.
and start recruiting our students, or helping build those skill sets so that they can be recruitment students for Trotwood and not Dayton. So,
Mm-hmm.
but but you know, again, we can feed our own right here in all the programs that we have. But this is a great list, Dr. Cosby.
Okay.
And I'm looking forward to the good news, you know, because anything is good news.
Oh,
Because
I have some good news for you
Okay,
in my comments.
Okay, but you know, I mean, anything that's happening in a partnership that moves our students forward, it's going to be good news, even if it's just one student.
Sounds
You know?
great.
Okay, thank you. Okay, my computer just went out. Let's see, where are we at?
We're on the
The business-
state report card
Yeah.
legislative updates.
Okay,
Okay, and I may have to defer to Ms. Jeter Freeman. I'll share with you what I have, actually. What I think the way it was initially asked was how would it impact us? So I'll tell you,
And I do understand that you probably, because I listened to the state board meetings and the committee reports out, on the gap closing from their January 24th and 25th meeting, and then they sent out the report card for comment with the data.
Right.
There's no way a layman not understanding
It's a
how
lot.
you wrap that all together. So the only clear text was that the ACT, SAT, those scores are now a part of it. And at the end of the day, they left the Academic Distress Commission in place, so those schools that were there are still under it. They don't start new.
Wow.
So,
Yeah. They did say that, yeah, you're right, and they're gonna have to figure out how to do that, because now that they're using stars instead of,
Yeah.
A through C,
Yeah.
A through F, and they used to do it based on what your letter grade was. So that is
Right.
one of the concerns that BASA sent to the legislators was, you're gonna maintain this, but then what is gonna be those numbers now? But you're right, yesterday, today, and tomorrow are like the final days that we can give input, and another thing that we asked for was more time.
right.
But as of right now, it is those days. But I'll share with you some of what I have. The 6 components will be gap closing, achievement, progress, graduation, early literacy, and college career workforce and military readiness. Those are the major 6 components. These components will be rated using the 1 to 5 star scale, and I did sort of get the definition of this just so I could share it for people who may not, be following this like I'm trying to and like you're doing a good job of, and I appreciate that. 5 stars says that the district significantly exceeds state standards. 4 to 4.5 stars says that we exceed state standards. 3 to 3.5 stars says we meet state standards. 2 to 2.5 stars said we need support to meet the state standards. And if you get 1 to 1.5 stars, it says you need significant support. I do think that it's still very similar in a lot of ways to A through F,
It is.
but I do like that it addresses the fact that it doesn't mean you're a failing school, it means you need support. And so, in that way, I think it's better, but I didn't like that idea. Anyway, I did also want to show you literally what it would look like for us compared to, and we say the old way, but really it's like the current, what we have now. The letter grade performance for 2018, 2019, you can see on our document where we are. Would you like a document? Follow along as I do this. Just quickly do that. So you can see here our district overall for 2019, when we were doing the alphabet, fell in the F, but with the new index, the way they're doing it now, we would have a 2-star overall as a district. And then they go through each of the buildings, and you'll see the high school would have a 3-star, middle school would have 3-star, and Westbrook Village would remain, it would have a 1-star versus an F, and the ELC is not rated. So it was supposed to be more fair. I know that there are certain components that take into account, for example, I believe it's gifted. It's like they will look at, like your socioeconomic standing, and then what they do is the percentage of kids that you have who are identified as gifted, they will use that to sort of like say if it's 100% high poverty, then you have 4% of your kids identified, then you'll get 4 points, towards the fact that you have that many kids involved in gifted. So
Yeah,
I know it's a little,
That part was really, or it is really confusing.
a lot of it's a
Yeah.
little bit convoluted right now.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but it did show that it would give us some, we're gonna have to learn all of these things, to your point about understanding where to really make sure we put our
Where our
effort
focus.
to get all of our points.
Right.
Right.
And the only other good part is for parts of it is 22-23 school year for some parts.
Right.
But then other parts are through 24.
Exactly, and the reason why I did have that marked, the reason why they're doing that is they understand that it takes time
Right.
over years to
Right.
be able, and they will give you the higher rating, or they'll give more weight to that last year, because they said, okay, you're putting stuff in place, that was year 1, then year 2, you're getting a little bit better, year 3, that'll be the higher percentage of your
Right.
whole score. So it's a lot, and that's why I think there are still questions, because people want to make sure they understand what we're doing. But I wanted to get you something that
I
you
appreciate it.
could have in hand to look
I do
at.
understand that
Okay.
this did take time, based on the way
Yeah.
they changed the numbers. So
Yeah,
I
so
really
we
do
were sort of
appreciate that.
working on getting this together for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Uh-huh, you're welcome.
Next, we have the discipline and the attendance data.
Okay, I've shared that with you as well. And so we can just sort of look through it, and this is also on our agenda for our
For the
next.
retreat.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, so this is really just more of an overview. The days absent from school, which is always important, and attendance is something that I do believe I need to actually do like a campaign for. I know that's old school, those campaigns, but I do think that we've had so much time out of school that a lot of parents, I think, are not sending their kids back. And the saying, it doesn't matter how great your program is, if the kids aren't sitting in the classroom to get that information, then it doesn't really matter. So that
Because
is what I'm working
attendance
on.
will be one of those factors. So I think, to your
Yes.
point, the campaign for attendance would be.
Yeah, yes,
Okay.
I'm looking forward actually I'm already starting to work on that, so. Then the next one, Trotwood annual attendance, and we did current compared to pre-pandemic. And just remember that right now, we just have the first 2 quarters. Yeah, but we are trending not to be have as many kids. Again, pandemic does involve that too. Attendance by building is there for you. State goal is 93%, and we had one of our buildings, Madison Park, is pretty close to getting there. Attendance by grade, to be honest, that's not really much of a shock. We want them all to be higher, but the trending is what you would expect. The younger grades, when parents have to just send them, the kids can't just stay at home by themselves. As they get older, you can see that they're more likely that the kids are at home. And in senior year, kids come to school a little bit more because they're excited about senior activities and things. So we're going to try to push all those numbers up. By gender, it's almost the same. And then we move into discipline referrals. Number of referrals per building, you can see this. One thing I would like to point out, the high school has the most discipline referrals, but remember, they have 4 grade levels in the high school. It's also, the bigger school. Middle school also has 3 grade levels, Westbrook Village 2, Madison Park 2. So that, you have more students. That explains some of that number. Students with multiple discipline referrals, you can see how many we have, 1 incident, those who have 2 to 4, and then the number continues to go down in kids. Yeah, that one that you see on the very end there is a particular student who's having a lot of issues, but we are dealing with that situation. And a reminder, 1,847 students had no referrals, so that's a good thing. That's good news. Discipline referrals by gender, our males have more referrals than our females. I was listening to, I don't know what show, now I feel like Mr. Andrews, but it was important, it's relevant to this. It's Beyonce's mother, I guess she's putting out a book, and it's about black men, and she did this piece of research where she had 2 men, a white male and a black male, the exact same size, same look, same everything. The only thing different was, one was black and one was white. And when people were asked which one seemed to be stronger, scarier, all those things, it was the black man, but they were exactly alike. So I say that only to say, when we look at, there are more referrals by gender, oftentimes people do tend to see something done by a male, which might be done by a female the same, but, they're more likely to do that. So it's training,
It is training.
to make sure everybody understands not to make those snap judgments, to try to find out. And then we have referrals by grade level. Grades 6, 9, and 10 have the most, and grade 6 and grade 9 are transition years, and we know transition is always a hard time. So I do believe that plays a piece in that. It has come up, people have talked about, actually students have asked, and I met with my group, one of the things they wanted me to consider was possibly reviving the freshman academy or doing something with freshmen, because freshmen, something else. So it's something we may consider. And then the last page talks about discipline referrals by location. The majority of those take place in the classrooms, and then by offense. And you can see skipping class, disrespect, fighting, and disruption are our top 4. Okay,
And we'll dig deeper into this at the retreat.
right,
Okay?
exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Uh-huh.
Treasurer's comments?
Yes, I do. I just have one comment. I just wanted to say that, for our listening audience, that I wanted to commend
Mayor.
our treasurer's staff for the, and our audience.
In the
Oh,
virtual
listen, we
world.
don't have anybody
The
listening.
virtual world.
Virtual world. Just wanted to send a shout out to the treasurer's staff for really buckling down and really working very, very hard. We are 2 people down, and I also wanted to send a huge shout out to all of the district staff that have helped us. I mean, we have just everybody just really working as a team, and I love it, because that's what we are, a family, and when our family's down, everybody comes together. So I just wanted to just thank everybody for helping us. And we will get through this storm, but I just wanted to publicly thank everybody.
Thank you, Ms. Allen.
And really, even the Board of Education, the superintendent, everyone that has supported us, just by kind words, just by everything. So I just wanted to say that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Dr. Cosby?
Okay, well, I have to follow up on that, and I appreciate your thanking. And I agree, I see people helping in your area, and my people are excellent. All of this that I'm sharing with you is a teamwork, and my team is doing a great job. They really are. So I think we got some good people here, and that's exciting to me, because I think we're going to go a long way. I do have some other quick things. Trotwood is holding its community career job fair Saturday, February 19th from 10 to 2 at the Trotwood Police Lodge at 506 Main Street. And I did have that put on our social media, so that should be getting out there. I do have some good news. I labeled it good news. We're going to be working with, I mentioned to you about PRISM, that program where we're putting the goggles on and doing like this 3D math problems. Really exciting. I got a chance to do it. We're going to have the board do it at hopefully one of our retreats, so you can get an idea of what that's like. But we're going to be doing a feasibility study. There are only 3 other districts in this area doing that, and we're one of them. The Oculus is what they call it. That'll be coming in, either it got here today or be here tomorrow. All of our high school math teachers will be trained in it, and we have 1 middle school algebra teacher who will be trained in it as well, and 1 teacher will be part of the actual study. So we'll be determining, how far this thing goes, how good it is. Another piece of good news that I have is about our alumni, Henry Benson III, who will be in our district on February 25th. He's going to read his children's book, H is for HBCUs, to our first graders. He is Mr. Benton's son, and so he's the junior, and we're getting the third to come in, and he had been planning to come. We also have purchased books for our libraries and for our students, and so they will be receiving those as well. So we're really excited
that's
about
awesome.
this.
So are those the first graders?
First graders,
Okay.
yep.
Okay, how many first graders do we have?
Oh, see now,
Don't worry about it.
that's okay.
That's okay.
Asking me a question I'm
I'm
gonna
just
have to
curious.
guess
Don't worry
on,
about it.
I'll
Don't
let you know.
guess. Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay.
I'm excited, though, that the books are going to be in the library. I'm excited that we're purchasing the books. And, I'd like to see the book, so if you could, for the board.
Sure.
Because we got the one book from the one little girl that
Yeah.
wrote a book, so it'd be nice if the board had.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I actually have a book, and it's also good for toddlers, because he was, yeah.
Yeah, it's an ABC book, if I'm
Yeah,
not mistaken.
He's put 2 books out.
All right, okay.
And you know what, this would be a good project, maybe even for the city of Trotwood, since we just happen to have Mayor here, I'm just talking, to really promote this partnership with the success of a Trotwood alum. I
Yeah.
mean, he was here from kindergarten on.
Yeah.
I mean, this
He's
is,
working on his doctorate in psychology.
yeah, this is
Yeah,
our baby.
so he's
I mean,
something,
So
yeah.
maybe that could be a discussion,
Okay.
okay, on how we can promote together.
Sounds good to me. That's all I have.
Get you some books over there.
I'll get you books.
Mhm.
Mhm,
Okay.
Get your books.
How about, Mrs. Cherry? Do you have any comments, ma'am?
Comments?
Yes.
No.
Okay. Vice President, Madam Vice President?
I think I made all of my comments, which were regarding the report card. And we can definitely talk more about that in our retreat and when our entire board is here as well. So I think other than that, I don't know that I have anything.
Thank you, Mr. Raymond. The only comments that I have, first of all, I want to thank you, Dr. Cosby, for the communication.
Oh,
I'd like to thank you for that. Really appreciate it. I know we got a lot going on in the district.
yeah, we do.
So communication is key.
Mhm.
Ms. Allen, I'm so happy that things are going well in the treasurer's office. I know a month ago, things were helter-skelter, but it seems like everything is coming together well. So kudos to you and your team, and also, engaging the district to do more. So thank you for that. In addition, I want to thank the mayor for being here tonight. She is the board liaison, it looks like. I know we have Betty, Miss Betty Gales, but we appreciate you being out. And your meetings are when, so that we can attend? I know it's the first Monday in every month, 6 o'clock. Okay,
They're gonna be speaking at the meeting? Will they speak at the meeting?
please do. Yeah, what's the date, do you know? Just the first month?
You mean
Okay,
for next March?
In
For
March.
March. So first Monday is March the 7th.
March the 7th?
Okay.
And after the tornado, they went back in and they built everything back up, modernized everything over there in that area. And they are phenomenal partners to the community. So their investment is $65 million.
That's great.
And it's the largest investment that we have probably seen in our time. So it's very important that we can let them all come over to meet them. Actually, I think it's creating a lot of questions for them. They have answered yes to everything, and they will continue to do that. They simply love to see the problem working with us, and they think that's kind of partner for this year.
That's
What
good.
time was the meeting?
It's 6:30?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay. And I want to thank our interim HR director for being here tonight too, and just sitting in with us. Superintendent, you mentioned something, and it just kind of gave me an idea. You know, we talked about Trotwood being a learning community, all of us, and we've not left anybody out. And even with this prism, you know, the fact that you said, you know what, we got to have the board look at this, and including us in that, I appreciate it. I want to ask for some consideration, and I've spoken to Ms. Allen about this a while back. Because we are a learning community, I would like to consider, for those that want to, as a board, the board members, to experience the letters training. And we'll talk about that more in the retreat, because, you know, we have these expectations for our staff with the letters training. I can't tell you what that is. I mean, I think, and it's not a requirement, but if you'd like to do it, we fall right under the umbrella of the letters training and what that entails. Yeah, just so that we would be aware, you know, and also, we're part of this district. We always leave us out, but we are part of this team.
Okay.
Thank you. So we'll look into that,
yeah.
would you please?
Yes, I will.
Without further ado, I would like to I'd like to ask for a motion to go into executive session to consider the appointment, dismissal, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official, or the investigation of charges or complaints against a public employee, official, licensee, regulated individual per BOE, policy 0166, and ORC 121.22, G1, official action may be taken.
I'll move.
I've got a motion on the floor and a second. Any questions? Ms. Allen, will you please call the roll?
Mrs. Judah Freeman,
Yes.
Mrs. Cherry, and Miss Moore.
Yes. Motion passes. We will now enter into executive session, and it is 6:42. Thank you. 8:04?
It is 8:03.
8:03, motion to come out of executive session.
Just
I need
declare
a
it out.
motion.
You can declare it, you can just declare
Do
it.
you need one to go in and one to come out?
Yeah, you can declare us out. I can
Yes,
just
I have to.
Say declare it out.
I can declare us? Okay,
Yes,
declare us
declare
out
it
of
out,
executive
yes.
session, 8:04. Next, before we close out the meeting, can we look at dates for our next regular session so that we can close out this agenda for the February meeting? We always have kind of kept Thursdays pretty firm. Our regular meeting would have been on the 17th, which is Thursday.
I won't be at that meeting. I will be out of town next week. I'll be in Nashville at a conference.
Yeah, and so, but we can use the associate superintendents if we need to,
For sure.
correct?
For
And-
sure.
And it's a really light agenda because we've already discussed
Right.
everything, right?
Yes,
And you would-
that was what we were prepared to do.
Absolutely, and
Yeah.
you shared that with me.
Mhm.
So if we could, and only because we're gonna try to get these retreats or summit or what have you, we're gonna try to get those scheduled probably 1st of March. If we could, February is such a short month and we're like middle of the month almost, it feels like. So 17th, which is next Thursday, which it would have been anyway, okay? Can we get Yelena to go ahead and put
Mhm.
that out, please?
Yes.
And make sure that the board is apprised that the meeting isn't scheduled unless the weather is a problem or something like that. And that way we can kind of stay on schedule. When we are a full board, we will, and that's after next week, we'll decide on what dates we're going to get together for the retreat. Be hard to do right now.
And you're gonna look at dates and let us know for the other.
For that second part for the summit.
Oh, that's right, so we're calling the first one a retreat as well.
Well,
Right.
they're retreats because we can't
Retreat,
meet.
and then we could
unless it's a meeting.
hashtag it under or something, say summit, so we'll know that that's what was a safety thing, but we'll call it retreat.
Exactly.
Okay. So, I need a motion to adjourn.
I move.
A second.
First and a second. Ms. Allen, will you please call the roll?
Mrs. Jeter Freeman,
Yes?
Mrs. Cherry,
Yes.
and Ms. Moore.
Yes. Motion passes. Meeting adjourned.
Brady, it was a good meeting.
hear us
Thank
through
you
this
for all that information.
Oh, you're welcome. Like I said, I got a great team. They helped me with
Well,
that.
thank your team.
Yeah, I will definitely,
Oh, can we get the binders real quick?
yes.
Okay, thank you. Oh, and these are for you guys.
Do you